Okay. Alright, so, yeah. Last time, we had managed to escape from the kitchen and, should probably... There we go. Yeah, so we managed to escape from the kitchen, and we, found ourselves in a giant, medical room, I guess you could say. It was a massive room filled with beds and medical supplies. And we also managed to join up with the rest of the group. But in that room were three more marked doors, three doors that had numbers, three 7 and 8. We also discovered that that Snake was missing. Oh yes, and we learned about Ice 9. Well, no, that's after. Yeah, we also discovered that Snake was missing, and so everyone went off searching for Snake. Well, okay. We discovered that the reds to the marked doors were disabled for some reason, and so we all went off searching to see if we could find the pieces to get them to work. We all met back up, and then turned out that Snake was missing, but the reds were active. Everyone tried to find Snake, but he was well and gone. Nobody knows where he could have been. And so Lotus came up with a plan for us to separate. And so one half of the group went into door number 7, another half went into door number 8, and Ace decided to take some anesthetics and leave and stay behind. And in door number 7, which is where we went, we were joined by 7, the big guy, and Clover. We wound up in an operating room with some medical mannequins, and there was a chemical room in which we discussed the existence of Ice 9. Oh no, wait, yeah, Ice 9 was back in the kitchen. Yeah, we talked more about Ice 9 and about Alice, the Egyptian mummy who wouldn't melt when it was recovered from the wreck of the Titanic. That was with and that was with 7. With Clover, we talked about the morphogenetic fields again, and she brought up the Lox Sox or Ship of Theseus theory, and it was really, really hard to follow where exactly she was going with this, but we gave her a 4-leaf clover to cheer her up, and managed to make our way out of the operating room, and so now we're picking right up. They left the operating room. The hallway took them around several corners and past several doors, but they were all locked.
There too, huh? Every door in this place is locked up tight.
How about that one?
The final door was hidden in a corner of the hall.
May as well give it a try.
Junpei grabbed the handle. As he made to push it open, a voice stopped him. The voice came from behind him and belonged to neither 7 nor Clover.
Jumpy!
Huh?
He spun around. He saw someone running toward him from the other end of the hallway. There were 3 people coming toward Junpei and his companions. Not friends. Definitely not friends.
June? And Santa? And Lotus too?
They pulled up short in front of Junpei, breathing hard.
Whoa! What the hell is this?
What are you doing here?
What? But we didn't...
Before he could finish, Clover spoke.
Hey guys! Could you come take a look at this?
She was standing near the end of a small hallway that branched off to the right. The rest of them ran over to her, curious as to what she'd found.
Look on the wall here.
There was something on the wall at the end of the hallway.
A map of the ship's interior?
It says C deck. So it's the map for this floor then?
Okay, so we passed. This was door 7. That was door 8. We passed through here. They passed through here. So we basically just ended up next to each other. Like, we had to deal with all this.
Door 7.
Or,
And
yeah, we dealt with all that. They dealt with that.
door 8. Yep, they both eventually end up at this hallway.
Okay, so they didn't deal with that. They just went all around it. Okay. In fact,
Yeah, isn't that what I said? We aren't going to be split up permanently till we find door 9. We might get separated for a little while, but we'll see each other again.
yeah, but what about door 3 and the blank door?
Otherwise, we won't be able to open door 9. That's how the nonary game works.
I see.
Junpei looked at the map of the ship's interior again.
Wait a sec. Hey, could this lead to...
As he looked more closely, his surprise and excitement gave way to weariness.
Oh.
You've got to be kidding me.
One by one, the others saw what he'd seen.
We may as well go. Yeah.
It's just, they moved as one for the door.
Oh, almost forgot. We should keep this.
He pulled the map of the ship's interior off of the wall, put it in his pocket, and followed the others. 6 of them stood in front of the door, arrayed in a semicircle. Santa stepped forward. He took hold of the door and spoke, without looking back at the other 5.
Ready? I'm gonna open it.
Slowly, all 5 nodded their silent assent. With a deep breath, Santa threw open the door. They poured through the doorway and into the room. Even without looking around, each one of them knew where they were.
I knew it.
They were just where the map had said they would be,
We're back.
back in the medical
hospital room.
Hooray! Where's Ace?
I see. I believe I understand what you're saying.
I made the right choice. I got to take a nap.
The 6 of you split into 2 teams and went through doors 7 and 8. You solved the puzzles in the operating room and the laboratory,
Laboratory.
and then met one another in the hallway after opening your respective locked doors.
He looked like anyone might, after only just waking up, but it seemed that his brain was working as well as ever. He had managed to grasp, summarize, and understand each team's report.
At any rate, I feel a bit silly for my little show of altruism.
Yeah, we kind of wasted a whole bunch of time on that.
I know I
Thanks.
said I was sure you'd come back for me. I didn't think it would happen so soon, though.
Ace shook his head with a rueful smile.
Well, we saw each other again and we ain't dead, so I say that's good enough.
7 smiled.
Anyway, I say we get out of this creepy old place. We found the key we need.
The key?
Ain't that what I just said? I'm talking about the Jupiter key. We found it in the operating room. Right, Junpei?
Yeah.
Junpei nodded.
Oh, the solar system keys. Actually, we found one in the laboratory too. Here,
The Earth key.
the Earth key.
Lotus dug out a still warm key with an Earth symbol on it.
I might lose it. It's probably better if you hold on to it.
Yeah, you don't have any
That way it won't
pockets.
be my fault if it gets lost.
I don't even know how that's staying on.
Yeah. On it.
And with that, she pressed it into Junpei's hand. He felt slightly less than honored.
Now we have 3 keys that we haven't used yet.
Yeah. The Jupiter key that we found in the operating room. The Saturn key card we found in the kitchen. And the Earth key Lotus just gave me.
Junpei tucked the new keys into his pocket. June spoke up.
The Jupiter key is supposed to be for the door at the end of that long, straight hallway, right?
Yeah. If the map's right, then it connects to the central staircase. Then, next to the stairs,
Wait!
They were the first words anyone had heard out of Clover in quite some time. Her face suggested they weren't going to be very happy words.
What about door 3?
Look, you saw the map, right? It's the same as 7 and 8. Just lead us back to the big hospital room. There's no point to seeing what's on the other side of that door.
There is a point. At least there is for me.
There were tears in her eyes, but she glared at Seven as hard as she could just the same. She looked very much like a frightened puppy. There wasn't a man alive who could have resisted those eyes. Seven looked everywhere in the room except at Clover, and muttered and coughed apologies under his breath.
Yeah, you're right, I'm sorry. Snake might be on the other side of door 3.
Clover nodded once. The next person to speak was Ace.
Very well. I'll be coming with you then.
That doesn't make sense.
I've had a nice long rest. I think it's time I was up and about again.
Like, he can't have gone through on his own. That breaks the rules.
So, Seven, you'll help me, won't you?
Like, he has to be back behind somewhere, like retrace our steps.
Huh? Me?
Junpei did the calculations quickly in his head. 4 plus 1 plus 7 equals 12. 1 plus 2 equals 3. It looked like 7 was doing them too. At last he gave up.
Damn. Well, I guess that's how it's gotta be. So I'm going with you, huh?
Yes, you are.
Alright, let's get moving.
Yes, you are. And so it was decided that Clover, Ace, and Seven would discover what lay beyond door 3. Oh, okay.
Okay, we're heading out.
Be careful.
Whoa. Didn't think I'd be hearing that from you, Lotus.
Don't let it go to your head. I'd be in trouble if the 3 of you bought it. The rest of us can't open the 9 door.
Ah, the truth comes out.
Seven nodded, as if this answer made much more sense, and pulled the lever on the red.
Okay, we're off.
The door opened and Ace, Clover, and Seven jumped through it. 6, 7, 8. After exactly 9 seconds, the door closed noisily.
All right, we should get moving too.
Huh?
Get moving.
Where are we going?
Well, use the fucking keys, guys, come on. Everyone except Lotus seemed rather confused.
Well, it would be a waste of time to just sit around, wouldn't it? Let me explain.
Oh, I get it. We're gonna see if we can get anywhere interesting with the Jupiter key.
Oh my god, June.
Yes. If we're lucky, we might find Snake.
They were at the end of the hallway lined by individual hospital rooms.
And here's the Jupiter symbol on the keyhole.
All right, Junpei, open it if you please.
Yeah, on it.
Junpei pulled the Jupiter key out of his pocket and slid it into the keyhole. He twisted. With a nice sharp click, he felt the door unlock. Junpei sucked in a breath, held it, and opened the door as quietly as he could. Inside was exactly what he expected to see from the map of the ship's interior. They were in a tremendous hall, almost like a ballroom, with a massive central staircase.
Great, back to the beginning. You sure this is a good idea?
Well, I mean, we had to come back here anyway to use the Earth key.
What do you mean?
Well, we already searched every inch of this room, didn't we?
Yeah, but now we can go past it. Santa, keep up.
I'm asking you if there's any reason we came back here.
Keep... Of course there's a reason.
Of course there's a reason. Man, sometimes I can't tell if you're smart or just lucky.
Huh?
This.
Junpei pulled 2 things out of his pockets.
The Saturn key card. And the Earth key? I'm lost.
Oh my god, Santa. Santa cocked his head to one side, like an inquisitive bird, and looked at them. After several long moments, during which it became apparent that Santa had no idea what the cards meant, June took pity on him.
Don't you remember, Santa? On C deck, where we are now, there was a big elevator behind the stairs, remember? And next to the elevator, there was a card reader with the Saturn symbol on it. And on A deck, on the door to the left, there was a keyhole with the Earth symbol on it, I think.
Yeah.
So the 2 keys that Jumpy has?
Should let us use the elevator and the door on A deck. Huh.
Yes, that's right.
June smiled, pleased with herself. So did Santa.
All right, I got it. Let's get started then. What do you say we split into 2 teams? Lotus and I will search the Earth one, so you 2 can search Saturn, all right?
Sounds good. Then you guys should take this key.
Junpei handed the Earth key to Santa. They decided that their initial search should be brief.
We have no idea what's on the other side of these. So don't go too far. Just search for 10 minutes and come back.
Plan decided, the 2 teams split up. Junpei and June headed for the elevators.
There's a card reader next to the left elevator.
Then let's try out the Saturn key card.
A light on the upper left corner blinked to life.
Great! It looks like it's working now.
All right. Now, how do I call the elevator?
You push the button. There was a single button to the right of the elevator door.
Oh, it only has the upside down triangle on it.
I guess there's no up button.
Just say the down button.
Well, we may as well try pushing this one.
The door slid shut and they heard the grinding of the motor as the elevator car moved down. Oh, that's ominous.
It opened! Look, Jumpy!
June's voice was excited, but Junpei could hear a tinge of anxiety.
Sweet! It opened! Let's get going.
He grinned at June and stepped toward the open door. As he was about to set foot in it, he felt a hand on his arm.
Wait!
What?
I'm not really, I just, oh gosh.
Oh my gosh. Junpei was at something of a loss. What could she possibly be so frightened of? June was probably afraid of... It's June, so this might actually be the answer. But I'll assume she's not freaking out about that. She was afraid because the only elevator button pointed down. That meant, of course, that the elevator couldn't go any higher than the floor they were on. Oh, well, too late. As he thought about it, Junpei realized he hadn't seen elevators on the A or B decks near the central staircase. All of which meant that the elevator could only convey them to the lower decks.
Come to think of it, the lower floor, D-deck, is completely underwater. An elevator heading to a submerged floor. That is pretty scary. Hey, wait a minute. This elevator came up from somewhere under us, right?
Well, yes, I guess it did. It didn't open right away after you pressed the button. There was a motor noise, like it was moving, and then it opened.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So, take a look inside.
Junpei jerked his head toward the interior of the elevator.
It's not wet at all, is it? The walls and even the floor are totally dry.
Oh, you're right. They are.
She looked around the elevator, slightly embarrassed.
Well, let's test it.
Test it.
Yeah, watch this. Now, I'll just put one foot inside the elevator and look over at the buttons. Oh, there's only 2, E and C. Alright, I'll push E.
Pushed the E button and jumped out of the elevator. The door slid shut, and they heard the grinding of the motor as the elevator car moved down.
I think I can hear it opening on E deck.
Okay, that's done. Now I'll just press the button again.
A few moments later, the elevator returned.
Yep, not a single drop of water to be seen. See?
Junpei couldn't resist puffing out his chest, just a little bit. June, however, still looked confused.
What does that mean?
Well, it means the water's isolated.
How can E deck be safe if the D deck is full of water?
Because, well, like water containment systems.
Well, here's what I
Flood
think.
barriers.
The elevator shaft and E-deck must be watertight and separated from wherever the ship's been punctured.
Yeah.
Here, let me show you.
He pulled out his notebook and pen and sketched out a rough illustration.
I see. So is that why the ship hasn't sunk? The shape of the inside keeps it all from filling with water?
Yeah, I think that's what's going on.
Junpei continued talking as he closed the notebook and slipped it back into his pocket.
So I'm gonna go down and check it out. You stay here, alright?
But
Come on, just do it, alright?
He gave June's shoulder a reassuring squeeze, then hopped into the elevator. He pushed the E button and the door began to close. June looked worried, her eyes darting back and forth as if she was trying to make a decision, when suddenly,
I'm coming with you.
Huh?
at the last possible moment, June dashed forward, turning sideways just in time to slip through the gap between the closing doors.
Hey, wait!
Junpei jammed his finger against the open button, but it was too late. I mean, there's no reason to separate in the first place, Junpei.
Crap, it closed!
The door had shut. He and June were in the elevator, and it was headed down to E deck. He was so surprised by June that he didn't even have time to think about what awaited him on the E deck.
I can't just let you go alone, you know.
Ah, jeez.
The elevator stopped, and the door slid open. They tentatively stepped out and looked around.
It looks normal.
No fish going about their fishy business, or jellyfish floating lazily through the water. There was, however, a blowfish. Or at least something that looked very much like one. June's cheeks were puffed out and her mouth was a tiny, intense frown.
Oh, knock it off. It's just like I thought. This part hasn't flooded.
I think it did flood, it just got drained.
Come on, just look around. There's no water here.
I mean, if there's a blowfish, then there was obviously water at one point. June looked around nervously then. Exhaled.
You're right. It's not flooded at all.
See?
But there's a whole lot of water.
Yeah, right on top of us.
What's gonna happen if the ceiling breaks?
Well, it'll flood. Junpei thought about that for a moment.
We'd probably die.
Oh no. Don't be so casual about something like that.
At any rate, we should probably go back as soon as we can, once we're done looking around down here. Lotus and Santa might already be back.
Okay, good idea.
Now then.
Junpei glanced around the room they'd found themselves in. The first thing he noticed was a set of thick iron bars. They ran the length of the room, separating the left elevator from the right one.
Iron bars. Well, we can't go over there.
Right.
Then maybe...
In the corner of the room that housed the elevators, Junpei found an opening.
Well,
He walked up to it and stuck his head around the corner.
it looks like there's a long straight hallway down this way.
And door number
Something written
6.
on the door at the end. Wait, is that...
Let's check.
Junpei and June set off down the hallway at a brisk clip. Somewhere between a run and a jog. No, it is not room 9, guys. Before long, they found themselves in front of the door. On it was a number written in bright red paint. 6.
I knew it!
This is a numbered door.
And indeed there was a red bolted to the wall right next to the door.
But we can't do anything with only the two of us.
We better head back and let everyone know.
Yes.
Junpei and June turned and headed back to C deck.
Wait, what's this?
On their way back, Junpei noticed a map on the wall.
Is this the map for E-Deck? I should take it with me.
There's so many maps.
Huh, so you guys found door 1.
They'd met back up with Santa and Lotus, who had explained what they'd found. Apparently, there was another numbered door on A deck, just like the one on E deck, beyond the door that the Earth key opened. According to Santa and Lotus, there was a 1 on the door.
So now we've located 2 new doors. The 6 door and the 1 door.
You know, it is interesting that E-Deck wasn't flooded.
Lotus was quiet for a moment, lost in thought.
Well, we don't really know if all of E-Deck is safe. We only checked the area around the elevator.
Even so, it's still very interesting.
You said the 6th door was there, right?
Yes.
Then that means Zero planned all this out, even the sinking. That would have meant some pretty serious remodeling of the ship's interior.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
Yeah. I wonder how long it took. I can't even imagine how much it must have cost.
It would have been a ton, that's for sure.
Well, that does go along with what Ace was saying. The most reasonable explanation would be that this was done by some organization with access to a whole lot of cash.
Yes, It does make sense.
Thought made them all go quiet for a moment. June bit her lip while Lotus sighed softly to herself, and Santa cracked a stiff neck and stared off into the distance at nothing.
Yeah?
I don't think it's a very good idea to stay here.
June looked up at Junpei with large pleading eyes.
Yeah, you're right. Ace and his team might be back already.
Well, Junpei and I should be able to open door 1.
Huh? You guys leaving me behind?
8 plus 6 plus 5 equals 19. 1 plus 9 equals 10. 1 plus 0 equals 1.
Just kidding. All right, let's go.
Lotus's words were all the impetus they needed. Back to the large hospital room they went. The moment they stepped inside, a tremendous voice echoed across the room.
Hey! Where the hell did you guys go?
It was 7.
7?
Ace was right behind him, and Clover was behind Ace, though she seemed to be hanging back.
What's wrong?
It looked as though there was something strange about them. 7 had the look of a man who'd seen a ghost, Ace was just as pale, and Clover looked as though she was only moments from passing out entirely. For a long moment, they simply stood there, looking at one another. Junpei looked around nervously, waiting for someone else to speak. No one did. He looked at 7.
What happened?
What the hell kind of question is that?
7 was trying very hard to be angry, but something had shaken him hard. His shoulders were trembling, and his voice was strained.
Snake is...
7 couldn't finish. He just looked away, his face twisted by... Junpei wasn't sure. Instead, Ace spoke. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and spoke.
Snake is dead. He died, just as the 9th man did.
That doesn't make sense, though. It was as if all the air had suddenly been sucked out of the room. Junpei felt his heartbeat quicken, and he realized he was having trouble breathing. He could feel cold sweat beating on his forehead and neck. June, Santa, and Lotus looked the way he felt. All 3 were frozen in place, their faces white.
Oh my god, that's not true, is it?
We should make sure.
Yeah, right. We should.
They nodded to one another and headed for the number 3 door.
Wait, not that way.
What? Why not?
They stopped short and turned to look at 7. He was pointing at the door with no number.
I stuck a screwdriver in there to keep the door from closing all the way. It's not locked, so you can go in that way.
How did you get a screwdriver?
Where is he?
The shower room, the left side of the hallway. I put a broom in there too to keep the door open.
That means we can get in without going through the numbered door,
Well,
right?
how would he have gotten that far? Like, why would have he gone in by himself?
Yeah, that's right.
Then let's go.
Like, the only reason he would have gone in is if he assumed that 2 others were with him. Their new destination clear, Junpei and his companions headed for the door with no number. Once in the hallway, it was easy to spot the metal door on the left wall.
This wasn't open when we passed here before.
But now, just as 7 had said, there was a broom stuck between the door and the frame, keeping it open.
Well, let's keep going.
They looked at it for a moment, then stepped inside.
Oh, it smells horrible.
Lotus wrinkled her nose and covered her mouth in disgust. Even Santa pitched his nose shut.
Ugh, yeah, this is pretty awful. I feel like I'm gonna puke.
It was just as bad as they'd said, maybe worse. A hideous smell filled the room, so thick they could almost taste it. It was sour and smelled of fish, feces, and burnt meat. It worked its way through Junpei's nose and down his throat, to pound against the entrance to his stomach. Ugh. He put his hands over his mouth and struggled to keep what little was in his stomach where it belonged.
Where is he? Where's Snake?
LR? They didn't have to wonder where the body was.
There.
There was blood everywhere, a few arms of the splatter reaching toward them as they walked through the door. All one had to do was follow the many radial arms to their source. The body itself was hidden behind a divider.
June, you should stay here.
But
Please, just do me a favor, okay? Alright?
He didn't give her a chance to say no. He put his hand on her shoulder, as if to shove her into the ground like a tent pole, turned, and walked toward the end of the divider.
I'm going in.
It felt like it took an eternity for him to get there. Santa and Lotus followed, timid and nervous as a pair of children. Eventually, they reached the divider. They looked at one another and nodded slowly. Junpei put his hands on the divider and peered around the corner. For a moment, he forgot to breathe. He felt his heart collapse in his chest like an empty cigarette carton, and time froze. He knew in that instant that he would take the image before him to the grave. What was left of the body sat in a sea of blood. Chunks of flesh, torn from the body, sat in the blood like tiny islands in a great red sea. A vast, ragged hole had been torn in the torso, and what remained of his intestines spilled out of it like fresh spaghetti. Smaller chunks of meat had splattered against the wall, and become stuck there as they dried. Do we have to do this? Like, I really don't want to read this.
Just like he said.
Santa's voice was strained. Junpei suspected he was holding down some vomit of his own.
Just like the ninth man. The detonator in his bracelet set off the bomb in his gut.
It looked as though the explosion had been quite powerful.
Oh god. The bone is coming out of his left arm.
It's definitely an open fracture.
That's the thing you notice? His legs were both bent in an odd, unnatural way, and his left arm was split open, exposing the painfully white bone of his ulna. His bracelet lay next to him. It seemed to have hit the wall hard enough to have shattered the display, which lay on the ground in pieces.
Oh, the face. It's horrible.
Yeah, you can't even tell who it is.
Wait, really? Half of his head had simply collapsed. The blood coating almost made it look like raw pizza dough covered in tomato sauce. Why do we smell fish? His clothes, too, were covered in blood. The burgundy tie, the white shirt, the jacket with the yellow piping, and the gray slacks.
But the clothes are...
They were all familiar to Junpei.
No mistake about it. It's Snake.
Lotus's voice was unnaturally deep and strained, and Junpei heard it catch in her throat. If the face is unrecognizable, then it's not him. It can't be. The squeal of tortured metal made Junpei's teeth curl. It sounded like the noise a ghost would make. No matter how many times he heard it, he never got used to it. Every time it put him on edge. It didn't help that there was a girl nearby who looked far more like a ghost than a living human should. It was Clover. She sat on the edge of the bed, her head drooping listlessly into her chest. Her eyes were blank and stared across the room at nothing. Breathing was slow and mechanical. Aside from the rise and fall of her chest, she didn't move. Junpei felt as if even a nudge might cause her to shatter into 1,000 pieces.
Snake was probably murdered. Chances are he was killed the same way the ninth man was.
Seven lowered his voice, likely in an effort to keep Clover from hearing what he had to say. He would need 2 other people to get in there in the first place, though. There were 4 other people in the room with Junpei and Seven. Ace, Santa, June, and Lotus. Seven looked at each one of them in turn and continued.
It's pretty straightforward. Not that hard to figure out how they did it. First, the killers got Snake to authenticate on the red to open door 3. Then they shoved him into it, alone, and waited 9 seconds for the door to shut. Once that door shut, it was all over for Snake, but he didn't give up. He probably knew it wouldn't do him any good, but he probably ran into the shower room looking for the dead. It was a small chance, but it wasn't like he had anything to lose. Unfortunately, it didn't work. The detonator is only deactivated if everybody who authenticated when they went in uses the dead. Snake was the only one who went through the door. And then, 81 seconds after he was shoved in, that happened.
I see. So that's what you meant by killers, huh? You need at least 3 people to open one of the numbered doors, including Snake. It wouldn't open for Snake and a single killer.
Yeah. That means we're looking at multiple perps here.
Okay, so doing some quick math, it would have to be either Lotus and Santa, 7 and Clover, or June and Junpei. Let's see. Yeah.
Well, just in case, I want to make sure. Let's say you're right. When do you think Snake was killed?
When we all split up to look for the parts for the Reds, I think. Right after that was when we noticed he was gone.
Then that means none of us have alibis. We were all off searching the rooms we'd been assigned, looking for those parts.
Yeah. That means anybody could be a killer.
Yeah, but it would have to be a specific pair of people.
Wait a minute. What are you talking about?
June seems shocked.
How can you say that so casually? You're implying that one of us is a killer.
Oh, 2 of them.
Well, not just one of us. If I'm right, then at least 2 of us are murderers.
Why don't you calm down a bit, Seven? What are you going to gain by being so suspicious?
Yeah.
That's what Zero wants, you know?
Yeah, Ace is the only one who like it has a pass on this one. Like none of the combinations can let him in.
What Zero wants?
Exactly. This game was set up by Zero, wasn't it?
I wonder if Zero is also a player in the game. If they have a 0, but that lets them go in.
Any game has a winner and loser. Whoever makes it through door 9 is a winner, and those who don't are the losers. Zero is trying to make us fight against one another for that victory.
Then you're saying that Zero is trying to split us up by making us fight each other?
Yes. That is why we can't let ourselves fall prey to suspicion.
3. I don't think any of the combinations work for 3 because Snake was 2. So you need something that would come out to 3 in the end. So like I assume we can just rule out Junpei, and that's just the assumption. But so 2. Let's say Ace is there, so that's 3. Say 7 and Lotus. No, that doesn't work. Yeah, you get that high, and you need too many people.
We have to trust one another and form a strong bond of friendship. Otherwise, we'll end up ensnared by Zero's manipulations.
Then does that mean that the person who killed Snake...
Yes. Almost certainly Zero himself. If there's anyone we should doubt, it should be Zero. He masterminded this game and kidnapped all of us. Doesn't it seem reasonable that he would have killed Snake as well?
Good question.
Junpei really considered that.
If Zero killed Snake, then Zero is on the ship with us.
Junpei. Was Zero still in the ship with them? It makes sense, but like someone has to be on the ship. Someone who is controlling things. But I can't say for sure. Of course he was. That was obvious.
I don't...
Zero was somewhere on the ship, but Junpei had no idea where. Junpei mumbled to himself, lost in thought.
Where could Zero be hiding?
Suddenly, everyone went very quiet. The silence was cold and clammy, and Junpei could feel it crawling across his back and down his throat. Again, he heard the ghosting moaning noise. And moments later, a person who looked more ghost than human appeared. It was Clover. She looked at the floor as she spoke, and her voice was a cold monotone.
I think Zero is one of us.
Every human body in the room froze. The only sound was the muffled rustling of breath. Eyes darted from face to face. One of those faces was the face of their jailer. But who? Was he one of them? See, that feels too easy. And see, I feel like Zero plays by the rules of the game too, but I don't know. Because I'm going off the assumption that Zero has set rules, and that they are also following said rules. I don't know exactly. I could be way off base.
That's crazy. Isn't this ship going to sink in a few hours? If Zero was here with us, he'd be putting himself in danger. Why the hell would he do something like that? There's no motive.
Clover looked up at Junpei and her face fell.
You don't believe me.
Oh no! I'm sorry, Clover. Her eyes were so pitiful. The moment Junpei's met them, he felt his heart tighten. He didn't think what he said was wrong, but perhaps the way he'd said it had been. He'd been too insensitive. Clover had just lost her brother. His death would have been bad enough, but she'd also seen the blasted wreck of his body. Junpei barely knew him, but the sight had been enough to make him sick. What Clover had felt, couldn't begin to imagine. In the mental state she must have been in, it was understandable that she'd look at those around her with suspicion. She felt everyone was against her. The least Junpei could have done was try to understand what she was feeling. Felt ashamed of what he said. Perhaps he thought I should apologize. But before that apology could begin...
Clover,
Clover, I understand what you're feeling. You don't feel that you can trust any of us.
Ace had beaten Junpei to the punch. As he spoke to Clover, his face was calm and friendly.
But you have to understand, the more we distrust one another, the further we fall into our true foe's trap.
I'm still wondering what the binding thread is here. We still know nothing about anyone.
Zero was the one who did those horrible things to your brother. Do you want to let yourself be manipulated by someone who would do such a horrible thing?
Yeah. Yeah, the only outside information we have to go on is what each person has talked about. Like, Santa, probably, a crook of some kind. Like, Lotus, a scientist, somehow. Ace, I'm willing to say scientist, but, I haven't been able to get a good read on him. Like, we haven't interacted with him a whole lot. Like, Seven is dressed as like like someone who works on a dock or a wharf. He's got the orange overalls. She didn't even look at Ace. The whole time, her eyes were on Junpei. You could feel Clover's eyes boring into him. They were the color of a deep winter lake. Junpei saw no suspicion in them, only sadness. Then, in that horrible silence... God damn it, guys. They heard a bell begin to ring. It was the clock at the central staircase.
It's 3 a.m.
That means we have 3 hours left.
Then we need to move now. 7. Clover, I know how you feel, but you do understand that right now it's important we trust one another, don't you?
7 and Clover remained silent. Their eyes were looking at something somewhere else, very far away.
We must go. We have very little time left.
Ace's words put their feet to moving. They all knew where they were going.
Our next destination is Mercury.
But maybe you and June should check it out first and then report back to us.
What?
All right, let's go, June.
Right.
Why us two?
Here it is.
It sat, bolted to the wall near the stairs that led to the casino and the kitchen, between the two elevators.
The Mercury card reader.
We're using the card 7 gave us, right?
Yeah.
I found it when we were checking out the shower room.
Okay, I was gonna say,
I think 7 said something like that. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's see what happens.
I was a bit more preoccupied with the prince's death. Junpei slid the card through the reader. The light on the card turned green and made a tiny electronic noise.
I guess the elevator works now.
Jumpy, I know it's only the two of us, but let's do our best.
Wait.
What's
Oh my
with you
fucking
all of a
god,
sudden?
did the other group decide to split up and go through the doors?
Well, I'm happy we were put together.
June, this is no time for this.
You know it's just for searching E-Deck, right?
Even so, I'm glad I'm with you.
Oh. First, we need to find out if the elevator comes up full of water.
Like, down, girl.
Just like we did before.
Oh, here it is.
I knew it. It's not wet at all.
Let's go.
Yes.
Once it had been checked for water, Junpei and June stepped into the elevator.
Look! Nearly all of the buttons are destroyed.
Yeah, only the seat and bottom button can be pushed.
We're on C deck right now, so the only one we can choose is bottom.
Yeah. Well, let's try it out.
Does that connect to the other elevator? Junpei hit the bottom button. The door closed. Slowly, they began to move downward.
Oh, so this is the bottom deck.
They stepped off and saw that the hallway to their right ended somewhere between 20 and 25 feet from them. The hallway in front of them was a dead end. Not a regular dead end.
Hey, over there.
Yep, I had a feeling.
This is a numbered door.
This is the 8th one we found. There were 2 numbered doors on B deck near the central staircase. They were doors 4 and 5. 3 more in the large hospital room, doors 3, 7, and 8.
And the door we found on E deck, and the door Lotus and Santa found on A deck. It was a 6 on the door on E deck, and a 1 on the door on A deck.
4, 5, 3, 7, 8, 6, 1. Now door 2 stood in front of Junpei.
That means...
Do you think the next door we find?
Yeah, I think so. The next one's gonna be door 9.
Despite himself, Junpei felt excited. Junpei, did you ever look at that map? There was something about that excitement that frightened him as well.
Finally!
Yeah,
You don't look very happy about it, though.
it's not that. I just hope nothing goes wrong.
Yeah, Junpei, we never looked at that map.
You're right. We should keep our fingers crossed.
In fact, oh, no, not that.
Let's head back.
Okay.
Let me click. Okay. No, that's right. The maps didn't appear on here. Map. Okay. E-deck. Wait, it's burned? What the hell? Is that where the explosion took place? What is this? Chapel. Okay, well, I guess that location will be important, but, where are we? He did his best to put it from his mind and headed back to C deck with June. Oh wait, that was a map of E deck.
Alright, 7 pieces.
Pieces of paper they'd folded up lay on the ground next to Junpei's leg. Everyone had written on paper pulled from Junpei's notebook, in an effort to pull together a blind vote.
Just double checking, but everyone wrote their code name and a door number they want, right?
Yes, just like you told us earlier.
Can't believe we're voting here.
Why had they decided to vote that way?
We need to make the whole thing fair, blah-de-blah. This is a complicated plan, you know. Hurry it up, Mr. I have a brilliant idea.
They decided it wasn't fair to simply ask everyone at once. They would allow people to force others. That would allow people to force others to go through certain doors.
Yeah, quiet in the peanut gallery.
And he had a plan. It wasn't a plan he wanted anyone catching wind of, however, so he did his best to act calm as he began to open and read the pieces of paper.
Alright, let's open these up. The first one says,
Where did you get paper anyway?
Ace requests door 1.
Oh, that's right, he had a notebook.
Yes, I do. Would you like me to explain why?
No.
No, we don't have time for that. Sorry. Let's keep going.
It's like, oh, I was going to launch into a big, like, spiel about, the duality of man. He opened the second one.
Next is Santa. He wants door 6.
Yeah, that's what I wrote.
Junpei continued with the third, fourth, and fifth pieces of paper.
Clover wants 1, Lotus wants 2, and 7 also wants 2.
Wait a minute. There is no way I'm going anywhere with the Elephant Man.
Wow, rude.
No, there'd be no point to the voting if we let people change their choices because of stuff like that.
But...
Just give it up, Lotus. It's not like I want to hang out with some exhibitionist grandma.
Dude,
not an exhibitionist. I'm wearing clothes.
like, why do you keep calling her grandma? She looks like 30 at most.
Barely.
So, last I checked, that's not a crime.
Maybe. But what about common decency? Nobody wants to have to look at a chick who looks like a half-naked raisin.
What? Dude, what?
Oh, I'm gonna kill you!
Lotus's hair flared out like the mane of an angry lion
Oh,
as she
not
roared with a
good.
voice that shook the walls.
Let go! Let go of me! I'm killing him!
With some difficulty, Ace managed to restrain her.
Junpei, read the rest.
Right.
Junpei tore his eyes away and looked down at the sixth piece of paper. He opened it.
June wants door 6.
Yes, I don't really have a reason. I just felt like it.
All of the papers, save Junpei's, had been read. He did some quick calculations in his head.
So this was everyone's vote. Ace and Clover requested door 1.
Yeah, they would need 7 to go through there.
7 and Lotus requested door 2.
There's no combination for both of them to go through door 2. This was the door on the bottom deck and could be reached by taking the elevator to the bottom of the ship.
Santa and June requested door 6.
Santa and June. That's 3 and... They would also need 7. 7 is just the perfect number, isn't he? This was the door on E deck and could be reached by taking the elevator near the central staircase down.
Then the door I should choose is...
Well, let's see. Santa and June, so that's 3 and 6. That comes out to 9. 7 and Lotus, that's 7 and 8. Want to go through 2. Well, they come out to 15, so if Junpei goes with them, that comes out to 20. Oh, that comes out to 20. Okay. Ace and Clover requested door 1. That's 1 and 4, so 5. So they need a 6, so they need June. So Santa's staying behind. It took him less than a second to run the numbers. Damn, Junpei. He opened the 7th piece of paper and spoke.
Okay, the last one is mine. I want to go through...
Yeah, door 2. Yeah, I was thinking, I had to get to 22, but no, I just need 20.
My choice is door 2.
Santa was unconvinced.
Hey, wait a minute there. You cheating?
Cheating?
I'm asking if you changed your number after you heard what doors we wanted.
How could I do that? I wrote it down on the paper earlier.
Let me see that.
Sure, here.
Junpei shrugged and handed it to him. Santa examined it furiously. The others peered at it as well. As they did, Junpei quickly slipped the piece of paper that he'd been hiding into his pocket. Although he'd never know it now, Santa had been justified in his suspicions. Junpei had switched papers.
I had 3 pieces of paper ready.
For doors 1, 2, and 6.
And I put the one with door 6 on it into the pot.
He put a small mark on it so he would know which one is his.
I just needed to make sure I drew last. After I saw everyone else's result, I just chose whatever door I wanted. If the number I'd already put in matched, then I didn't have to switch the paper out. Well, what does it say?
He fought the urge to smirk.
You got lucky.
But you don't believe in luck. Santa snorted and tossed the paper aside, frustrated.
Alright. So we know who's going through door 2. That'd be me, Lotus, and Junpei.
7 plus 8 plus 5 equals
The
20.
only problem's the other two teams.
June and I want door 6.
Clover and I choose door 1.
That's not good. We can't open either of those doors with only 2 people.
Yeah. Well, Ace needs June. Santa's left out. Everyone was silent. Then suddenly Clover spoke, her face blank and cold.
Why don't Santa and June go into door 1 with Ace?
Huh?
Well,
Oh, you best not commit suicide while we're in there. They looked at one another. 3 plus 6 plus 1 equals 10. 1 plus 0 equals 1. Finally, Ace spoke.
And what will you do, Clover?
I'll be waiting at the stairs. You guys are coming back here, right? That's what 7 was saying, wasn't it?
That had been what 7 said.
We aren't going to be split up permanently till we find door 9. We might get separated for a little while, but we'll see each other again. Otherwise, we won't be able to open door 9. And that's how the nonary game works.
I'm sorry, but I just want to be by myself for a while.
You better not fucking commit suicide. I
You
swear to God.
understand, right?
There was no emotion on her face, but it was drawn and pale, and her eyes were red. No one had the heart to contradict her. The room grew very quiet. Silence drifted down over everything like a blanket of fresh snow. Santa, who finally spoke.
all right. I'm going through door 1. That all right with you, June?
Yes.
June nodded.
Well, we'll be going then.
Let's move too.
Yeah.
Right. Let's go.
I kind of have a feeling that 9 is in the flooded section. And just like that, their paths were set.
I won't see June for a while, but this was my choice. I'm just going to have to suck it up. 7 said we'd all see each other again, and I'm going to believe that.
He took strength from that thought.
The other group went to A deck to go through door 1. Clover joined them. Our group is on our way too. We're heading to the bottom deck using the elevators. I wonder what we'll find down there.
Yeah, that'll leave the door 6 to explore once we're all done. They stepped off the elevator and head for door 2.
We ready?
Yeah, anytime.
I'll go first.
One by one, they put their palms onto the recognition device, and 3 asterisks blinked in life on its screen.
Let's go!
The door opened, and they leapt inside.
Where the hell is it this time?
I don't see it!
Oh, there it is! It's right there!
Fortunately, it took them only moments to find the dead. It had been placed just inside the room, right next to the numbered door. They gathered around it and quickly scanned each of their bracelets.
It stopped.
Yeah, it stopped.
Junpei could feel his heart pounding against the inside of his ribs. 7 and Lotus were breathing hard and fast.
Man, I'll never get used to that.
I'm not sure it's something I'd want to get used to. We should finish this game before imminent death becomes a normal thing.
Damn right.
All right.
Junpei looked around again.
This hallway's pretty short, but it's got 5 doors. 3 on the left, and only 1 on the right.
Don't forget the last one at the end of the hall.
Well, he said 5 doors.
But it's got a metal plate over it, so I doubt we're gonna get anywhere that way.
After taking a look around the room himself, Seven spoke.
All right, let's get started. I think we'd probably better split up. You two okay with that?
Yes, no problem.
Sure thing.
Then I'll take this first one.
Seven nodded to them and stepped into the room closest to him.
I'll try the one next to it.
Why did you shut the door? At last, Junpei was left alone.
Well, I guess I'd better get started too.
He looked intently at the remaining 3 doors. All right. Seek a way out. Time to explore. Okay. Confinement room hallway. Confinement room. What's that? What the hell's this supposed to be? Like a drawing of a whirlpool or something? Well, if I had to guess, I'd say it's trying to look like water. It's doing a bad job of it. There's a little tile in the drain. Doesn't look like we're going to be able to pull it out of there. Might have to use our heads on this one. Alright, let's figure this thing out. No, looks like the water doesn't work. Doesn't matter how much Seven turns that thing, no water's coming out. Has the water been shut off from somewhere else? Well, it's been shut off everywhere. There's a tile stuck in the drain. Okay, I'll probably need something else for that. There's a partition here. Maybe it's for privacy? Well, what privacy? It's like... Oh. Sun. Symbol on the toilet lid, huh? Seems a little fishy to me. It's a sun symbol, but it doesn't look like the ones on the doors. Damn, this toilet's pretty nasty to begin with, but the inside's even worse. Honestly, I'm amazed you could bring yourself to touch it. Ha! There's a way nastier stuff out there in the world than a gross toilet. You're a real deep thinker, aren't you? A toilet paper tube, huh? I seriously doubt I'm gonna need this for anything. Well, this part is thinner than the rest. In fact, this doesn't really look like it's part of the rest of the thing. This rod feels loose. Maybe if I give it a couple of turns. Here we go. Is that a Phillips head screwdriver? Yeah. Hey, this is a screwdriver shaft. It's missing a handle though. Even if we run into a screw it fits, we're gonna have a hard time of it without the handle. Well, if we can find a handle, maybe then it'll do some good. What's this? Hey, this handle's pretty loose. Loose? You think it'll come off if you pull on it? It fell off. Look at this. Handle doesn't really fit on the string. Maybe it wasn't meant to be attached to it. Oh, well, that was easy. So if I just stuck this metal rod into the handle... Screwdriver. God, that was easy. Thank God it's the right kind of screwdriver for that screw. Awesome, we can totally... What screw? Damn, the screwdriver kind of looks like a soldering iron. You think it's some sort of industrial grade screwdriver? No. You can unscrew any Phillips screws we run into. Who would use a screwdriver that looks like this? Nobody. People use screws with actual grips. Okay. Sun symbol. Okay, that seems to be it for that toilet. Was there... Yeah. Can't pull that out. There's a dirty blanket on the bed. Man, this is a mess. It's not even a bed anymore. Can't say I'd want to sleep there. It's nice of Zero to go through the time to dirty up the shitty rooms. What's this? Oh, I see. These are the screws it talked about. Guess I was supposed to look at this first. Huh? What the hell? It's not opening. There's something up with this drawer. I don't trust it. Sweet, got the screws off. Now we can open the drawer. There's nothing in here. Well, maybe the drawer's what we need. The drawer, huh? Alright, let's yank the thing out. It's got something on the back. What is that? There's a bump on the back. I wonder what it's for. Maybe there's a hole somewhere and these bumps line up with it and trigger a hidden switch or something? Hey, we've seen weirder stuff. Doesn't seem that far-fetched. I don't know. Well, I already took the drawer out of the desk. This chair's pretty old. If 7 sat on it, it'd probably break. Huh? You say something? Nothing at all. Well, that seems to be it for this room for now. A stream? Somebody made some wavy blue lines on this mirror with blue paint. Is that a drawing of a blue scarf? No, maybe not. Well, the other one was a whirlpool, so this is like a river. This drain is kind of a weird shape for a drain. Think they made it that shape for a reason, or just for fun? There's no knob on this faucet. There's no way we can get water out of it like this. If we can find a knob, or something that'll work as one, then we should be able to get water to come out of this thing. No, it's not just the sinks. Everything's opposite, like a mirror image. So, that's normal if you're both using the same water pipes, right? Yeah, that is normal. Oh, hey! Owl? Well, looks like a towel. I have to wonder if the design means anything, though. Maybe you should consider what the design might be. Perhaps that'll give us a hint. Bed looks cold. Pretty sure you'd freeze to death in the winter. No kidding. I tried to sleep here, my skin would dry out in no time. It's not like you're that young. Junpei! My, Junpei, aren't you lucky? It seems you'll die before you have a chance to grow old and hideous. Like, she looks good! Like, what the fuck is with you people? Dry skin is a woman's worst enemy. Seems sadder without the pillow. So, it's still a terrible bed. I'd never sleep on a bed like that. Like, what is with 7 and Junpei? It's like, ugh, this woman who is really hot and, you know, and dressed kind of skimpily. God, she's such a hag. It's just hanging from the wall. Well, if we're pulling the string, then it must be a toilet that flushes. Moon. But it's backwards, I think. Moon? What a filthy, disgusting moon. Yeah, it's pretty filthy, but it's a precious hint. Let's remember it, alright? I refuse to touch this. I refuse. What the hell's wrong with you? I don't want to touch it. Ever. I don't blame her. Junpei, what is with you? You don't want to touch the dirty toilet? Oh my god, you're such a freak. This paper seems to be pretty old. Ew, how the hell can you touch that? It's horrible. Well, it's not like I've really got a choice, do I? It's not like I want to. Use toilet paper? Well, it's old and it's kind of grossing me out, but there's nothing suspicious about it. Hey, it's a knob. There's nothing in the drawer. Yeah. Something's not right, though. That handle on the drawer doesn't really fit, you know? It's just looks messy. Why don't you take it out? So there's a mirror on the other side of this drawer. Interesting. It's kind of an odd shape, and it looks like someone attached the handle with a screw after the fact. Well, because it's the faucet. Oh, and it's the mirror. Find these two. I use the screwdriver on the screw on the center of the handle. Maybe I can... Knob. And screwdriver vanished. Well, that came off easily enough. Looks like a faucet handle. Yeah, it seemed a little weird to put it on a wooden drawer like this. I'm sure they made it look odd on purpose. With a shape like that, there's only one place it could go. Speaking of... Sweet. The handle I got off that drawer fits into the faucet perfectly. Now I can turn the water on. Junpei, what are you doing? It's pretty obvious, isn't it? I'm running the water. You can see that. I'm asking you why you're just letting it run like that. Think about it, Lotus. This faucet didn't have a knob when we found it, right? What do you mean? Just watch. Anytime now. Hey, your water's filling up. Doesn't that just mean the pipes are clogged? Whoops, let's turn it off for now. So, did anything change? The water stopped flowing. Thank you, Mr. Obvious. Junpei, I'm leaving this one to you, alright? Okay, well, this filled up. The sink is totally filled with water. What's this? What's the deal with the lighting here? It's just this one beam of light. The rest of the place is too dark. I can't see anything. There's no way we can explore the rest of this room. Oh yeah, we could probably use this mirror to reflect the light. I was smart. Now I just gotta figure out where to reflect the light. Perhaps reflect it into the mirrors? Maybe if I can go somewhere that's a little easier to shine light on. So if I shine this light on the mirror and back... Get it? If I shine light on a mirror, symbols appear. The left side has a sun, the right has a moon symbol. I gotta remember this. When I shine light on the mirror in the back... Is that a number? 4 and 7. So if I shine light on this mirror, then I get to see some numbers. I can see a 4 on the left and a 7 on the right. 4 and 7. There's nothing special about this toilet paper. I don't think I really need to bother shining light on it. Okay, it's nice to see the sink lit up, I guess, but all it shows me is the pipe. I can see a partition over there. It seems pretty pointless to bother examining it. I was trying to click the thing in the middle, but... Okay. This light's barely enough to see by. I feel like I'm gonna see a ghost here or something. Is there anyone there? Give us a sign. It's a blanket. Not a really great one, but still. This is a sink, but there's no light shining on it. It's hard to be sure because it's so dark here, but I don't think there's anything going on with this sink. Oh. Something sharp. And of course, whatever it was has vanished, so that's fun. This faucet is too hard to turn. Okay, well, I got a sun and a moon, a 4 and a 7. Ah! God damn it, no matter how hard I pull on this damn thing, it won't budge. Guess I won't be opening this anytime soon. It doesn't look like it's got a keyhole. There doesn't seem to be anything stopping it. How the hell am I supposed to open it? The desk is old and rusty. Nope, go back in there. It's trying to shine light, but I guess not. Okay, yeah, I can't turn around while I'm using the light. Okay. What's this? Nothing? Emergence? Is that emergency or emergence? There are a bunch of tiles on the door that spell out emergence. Emergence? Yumi needs to merge out of here. Emergence. Do we really need to do something with the tiles to open the door? Well, there's the tile in Seven's room. There's a door in the back. I wonder where it goes. Thought of that. I tried a couple things, but yeah, same result. I guess 7 wasn't about to do anything. Oh well. Okay, so... Ceiling. Alright, I think I've examined everything I can. So we have a tile door that doesn't seem to do anything. Yeah, I can't click on the tiles themselves. The tiles also look out of place. Some kind of blue design. Hey! So we've got this tile, and it's got these red, blue, and gray lines. What the heck does this stuff mean? Hell if I know. Oh. Junpei put the wet towel into his pocket. He was about to turn away when there was a noise behind him.
What the?
He spun around to see Seven kneeling on the floor. His face was rigid and pale. Droplets of sweat covered his forehead.
Hey, what's going on? Are you okay, man? You're sweating like crazy. Are you alright?
Hey, you're the second person I've seen with a fever. He was concerned. He'd never seen Seven like this before. Slowly, the other man lifted himself to his feet on shaky legs.
Yeah, I'm fine. Just got a little dizzy, that's all.
His face was pale, and his breathing was heavy. Sweat was pouring off his face, and he's staining his shirt.
That's definitely more than just a little dizzy. Are you sure? You don't look so good.
Seven didn't answer. Half of his face was twisted, as if distorted by extreme pain, and his eyes were glazed. Finally, he spoke.
What am I doing here?
Huh?
His words made no sense.
What are you talking about? We opened the number 2 door and walked in here. Don't tell me you forgot.
No, that's not what I mean.
He shook his head several times, as if trying to clear something from it.
It ain't much, but I think some of my memories came back. I think I've been here before.
Huh?
I said I've been in this room before.
You were here? When? Why?
Were you on the Titanic?
Aoi, Light, Nona.
Suddenly, Seven was mumbling to himself. There were words Junpei didn't understand. Seven's hoarse voice trailed off, and Junpei couldn't make out what he said.
What the hell was that?
We Light Nona? I don't know what Nona means, but I'm pretty sure Aoi's... well, no, that's... Ao is blue. I don't know what Aoi means. Seven's brow furrowed furiously, and he ground his teeth back and forth.
It's right there. I feel like I'm this close to remembering everything, but I just can't.
Seven stopped, frustrated. He'd pulled his hat off and ran a hand through his hair. Then suddenly he looked up, his eyes wide.
That's right, an experiment. There was some kind of experiment going on this ship.
Clover said something about that. Something in an experiment.
What sort of experiment?
She asked us about that, and we didn't understand.
They were trying to control people. Or something like that.
What the hell are you talking about?
Junpei didn't know what to make of Seven's story. Instead, he simply stared as Seven continued.
Aoi, Light, and Nona. Those were their names. Well, some of them. The kids that were in the experiment, I mean. I think there were 4 or 5 more, but I don't remember all their names. Yeah, that's right. That's why I'm here.
Seven began to mumble to himself and wander aimlessly about the room. He looked confused. So far as Junpei could tell, the man was simply rambling. There were odd twitches to his movements.
Experiment. Cradle Pharmaceuticals. Those kidnapped kids. Was I working that case?
Working that case? Seven continued to mumble to himself about things that meant nothing to Junpei.
Huh?
Junpei didn't have any answers for him, of course. He couldn't understand what was happening to Seven. All he could do was wait. After a few minutes, Seven finally stopped.
Wait, under this bed.
He crouched down and looked under the bed. His face registered mild surprise, and he began to mumble to himself again.
The home's gone? No, maybe it was a different room. There's gotta be a ton of rooms on this boat that look just like this one.
At last, Junpei could contain himself no longer.
Hey, what exactly do you remember? Maybe you could stop talking like a crazy person and tell me what's going on here.
Seven stood up slowly.
Well, it's not like I really remember everything. I've only got bits and pieces, and they're scattered and don't make much sense.
I don't care. Tell me the bits and pieces then.
Junpei could feel it. Whatever Seven had remembered, it was important. Very important.
Okay.
Seven drew a large, muscled hand down across his face. As he wiped the sweat from his brow, he spoke.
From what I can remember, I think I was a cop.
A cop?
Yeah. I was looking for that group of kids that got kidnapped 9 years ago. You remember that, right? It was all over the news.
No.
Yeah, I was still in school. I don't remember all the details, but I do remember some of it. I think it was a bunch of kids right around my age. They all just disappeared. Nobody knew why.
Wow, 16? God. Way to keep to a theme, nonary game.
It was all over TV and the newspapers every day. So you're saying you were investigating it?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. I guess I found something. There was this medical company called Cradle Pharmaceuticals that had something to do with those kids. After I figured that out, I managed to get some information out of somebody who worked for them. I think it was...
Tonight, a ship is set to take the children to a large passenger liner docked offshore.
Yeah, that had to been it. That's why I went to the wharf.
Okay. I can't say I was expecting that. Look for 7?
From the shadows, I searched the harbor until I found the ship he was talking about. There was a bunch of movement there. Men in black suits, many of them were carrying large bags. Bags. There was something about the way they moved as they were carried. No doubt about it. There were human beings in those bags. I moved before I realized it. I came out of hiding, my gun already in my hand. Don't move. I felt metal touch the back of my head. Drop the gun. He kept digging the cold metal thing into my skull. There was nothing I could do. I did what he said and laid my gun on the ground. Then suddenly, there was a sharp pain in my neck. A needle. A drug? That was my last thought. My face hit cold concrete. I was out like a light after that. I woke up on a hard floor. Damn it. Shit, my head hurts. Where am I? A small, shabby bed, a dirty sink, a toilet with no privacy. I'd seen it countless times as a cop. I'm in a cell, huh? Facing the toilet was a door set into the wall. I was still pretty woozy, but I made my way over to it. I pushed and pulled on it, but... it won't open. Not like I expected much else. Would be dumb enough to put me in a cell and leave it unlocked. Threw myself against the door a few times, but it wouldn't budge. I knew it. I gave up and made my way back to the bed, and sat down. I sat there for a very, very long time. Who knows how long. Then, I heard a faint voice. The voice was far away. I couldn't understand what it was saying. But I could hear one. It was pretty high, probably a little kid. Huh? No, it was several. I hear 5, or 6, maybe more. Where? Where are they coming from? I pressed my ear to the wall and tried to listen through it. No, that's not it. Left. It's coming from under the bed? I hauled on the metal frame and flipped the thing over. And there it was. The bed had hidden an air vent under it. The hole in the wall was covered by a metal grate. I dropped flat on the floor and peered through the grate. I couldn't see shit, but I knew it in my gut. This was where those voices were coming from. Hold up. Why are there kids here? But then what my inside man told me popped into my head.
Tonight, a ship is set to take the children to a large passenger liner docked offshore.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Am I on that ship? It didn't matter. All I knew was I had to get to those kids. I checked out the metal grate. Could I fit? I stuck my fingers in and grabbed it. Then... Yeah! How do you like that, you son of a bitch? I finally got the damn thing off. Sweat was dripping down my face, so I wiped it off and crawled inside.
You gonna fit, dude. Junpei waited for Seven to resume his story. The longer he waited, however, the clearer it became that Seven had no intention of doing so. He had gone silent and simply stared off into the air, his eyes blank.
Hey, what happened after that?
He waited long enough. Seven shook his head.
I don't remember what happens after that. I think I found some kind of door out of the duct. And I think I found some kids, too. Not good. Why can't I remember what happened next?
Ah, man, what happened to the kids, Seven? Did you save them?
Junpei, he just said he can't remember what happened next.
I don't know. I don't know if it was me. I've got this feeling. I think one of the kids died. A girl, I think.
Huh?
Deep in his heart, Junpei felt something very cold. Seven's head dropped, and Junpei saw in it a look of sadness the likes of which he'd never seen on the man before. The large man's eyes blinked rapidly, as if he were fighting back tears, and he swallowed hard. His sigh was like the melancholy setting of an old abandoned building. He shook his head and spoke.
Anyway, just please don't ask me anymore, okay? I really don't remember anything else.
After that, Junpei could hardly try to force any answers out of the other man.
It's fine. Don't push yourself. Going by what he said?
Junpei left Seven to pull himself together and instead began thinking everything over.
The children who had been kidnapped 9 years before? Apparently a company called Cradle Pharmaceuticals had been behind it all. They'd taken the children to the same ship we're on now. They'd been brought here for an experiment. Seven said it had something to do with controlling human beings. The 16 children who had been kidnapped were the subjects. Seven had said 3 of their names were Aoi, Light, and Nona. I think that's all I got. Oh, and Seven is, or was at some point, a cop.
He also got, really scarred up at some point.
I can't really use any of this information anyway.
Those are not tiny scars.
I didn't learn anything about the Nonary game or Zero. Why were we brought to the same ship where they'd done those experiments 9 years ago? And just what the heck is this about controlling human beings?
The Nonary game? Huh? I think I see a connection.
That's nuts. Did they really conduct an experiment like that?
Before long, Junpei realized he'd spent quite some time deep in thought.
I don't have time to just stand here thinking. I need to get moving.
Junpei shook his head quickly to clear it, and returned to his investigation, thoughts swirling in his mind. Okay, well. Tiles we found and the tile we have here are the same size. When I touched the tiles on the door, I felt something weird. Huh? You can move these tiles. Then that means, if you swap the tiles we got with the tiles on the wall, something will happen. What tiles we got? I only have the one. Suppose now we just need to figure out what the strange designs on these tiles mean. The one tile? At any rate, we should look for all the tiles that are the same size. You're right. Let's meet back here after we've done a thorough search. Okay, so there's one more tile to find. Drawer that doesn't open. I wonder if this is part of a puzzle. It's old and rusty. Blanket. Not a great one. Four and 7. Sun and the moon. Okay. Okay, 14 equals E. What? Just barely make out the string for the toilet, but I can get a hold of it. Damn it. Kinda pisses me off that I can see it, but I can't touch it. Toilet paper. It's still wide enough for me to know what it is, even in the dark. There's nothing out of the ordinary about it. It says 14 equals E in red. I think I saw 14 in red somewhere else. Is it on something that I'm carrying with me? Was it? Oh, yeah, that is a 14. There's a bunch of weird lines on this tile thing. Don't get it. Yeah, there's an X. There's a 14. There's an X. And there's a backwards 14 with the black. It's like a dirty toilet, but it's too dark to tell. It says 14 equals E. We should use the tiles here. There's still rooms that haven't been checked yet. What rooms haven't been checked yet? Lotus? Wavy line. Is the drain clogged? Yeah, well, we know where the water came out. This wall. Is this supposed to be some sort of partition? What do they think this is? Privacy is important. For these things. It's not like you're gonna use it, Lotus. At least the guards couldn't watch you drop a loaf. Junpei! Heck, it's better than being totally exposed, right? Dude. I took the drawer out, but nothing happened. Of course, there's no way you could hide a puzzle in something that small. Yeah, I know. Still. Still seems like they might try to... Huh? Looks like that. It looks like there's something... Huh? It looks like there's something in there. Do I fit this in? Like something falling. What was that? I heard it too. Let's open the drawer. Hey! Another tile. Another... Oh, it's, Have you taken a close look at this tile, Junpei? I noticed that the 3 red lines here are actually on top of the other lines. The red lines? Yes. Yeah, and this one's the same. A tile with the 3 colored lines on it, right? Junpei, did you notice this? The red lines, don't they look like they form a 14? Yeah, the blacks form a reverse 14. Yeah, I guess it kinda does. Okay, well, there's nothing in the drawer. Okay, well, I have 2 tiles. And I have a towel. Don't know what that's for. Emergence, huh? We should use the tiles here, but there's still rooms that haven't been checked. Okay, well... Should I use the towel to... Or wait. It's a sink, but there's no light shining on it. The mirror was probably put to reflect what's opposite. No. Alright, took a couple tries, but now I've got you, string. Yes. Now I can pull on it. Huh? Doesn't matter how many times I pull it, there's no flush. I kinda feel like an idiot. I wasted a bunch of time because I was determined to flush a toilet. It's like a dirty toilet, but it's too hard to tell. Well, it's an E, right? Just like that. That doesn't open. I feel like I still need the tile for something. Did I pull on this one? When symbol was pointing to. Probably made it so that someone wouldn't trigger it by accident. If that's the case. What did that do? This toilet is disgusting. You don't expect me to touch that thing, do you? If you don't want to, then I'll do it, alright? Oh. Okay, well, did something show up in the other room? Okay, no, nothing. Yeah. Pretty old school toilet. Does that make sense though? This ship does seem pretty old. Okay, well I've pulled both toilets. Has anything changed in here? The toilet won't flush when you pull on the string. Okay, I've flushed the 2 toilets. As far as I can tell, nothing else has changed. And look at the sinks. Yeah, water bubbled out and pushed the drain stop out. Picture on this mirror is a spring, and it's talking about this water in the sink. Yeah, then the other one is the river that feeds it. Yeah, well, I've already solved that puzzle. Do I... Alright then, here goes, second pool. Third pool. Did you just hear something? I did, but it doesn't look like anything's happened here. Huh, wonder what that sound was. Okay. Second time. Third time. And a time. Just keep pulling. Oh, 4 and 7. I get it. And that's the sound again. It's whenever I pull that string a couple times. Junpei, did you hear something from the other room? The other room? You mean from the dark room? Yeah, okay. Frustration has solved my problem. Still won't flush when you pull on the string. No, but the desk might be. Hey, 2 more tiles. This drawer opens easily enough. 2 more 14 tiles. And they're all exactly the same. There's nothing left in the desk. Okay, that should be all the tiles. Okay, well, it looks like we've investigated all the rooms. The only mystery left is that door. Alright, let's crack this mystery then. Got 4 tiles, and there are a bunch of tiles that are the same size on the wall here. So if we replace 4 of the tiles on the walls with the ones we've got, that should open the door. Well, there's only one way to find out. The E's. Oh. Hey, did you just hear something unlock? Does that mean we got it right? Yes, it looks like we did. The 14 hidden on the tile. Invert that to hexadecimal, it's an E. Basically, the E's in emergence are the 14s from the tiles. So if we replace it, that gives up the answer. Do you really care why it worked? Let's just get out of here. Yes, let's go. Okay, that I kind of thought that towel was going to be a bit more useful, but overall that room was kind of the least complicated I've been in. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Like, the first room was the least complicated, but that one was mostly just easy to figure out. They passed through the open door and headed to the next room. Junpei jogged down the short staircase and looked around. What the fuck is this?
Oh, what the hell is this place?
The words had sprung unbidden to his lips, but it was clear why. Junpei shivered. Lotus and Seven reached the bottom of the stairs and stopped short, terrified.
Ugh, this room is really creepy.
I think we ought to get the hell out of here now.
He jogged up the stairs on the opposite side of the room and shook the door on the wall next to the catwalk. It didn't open, and he muttered to himself.
Figures.
It's locked, isn't it?
Yep. Don't know why I thought this would be any different.
So, what is this room for, anyway?
Junpei looked around the room again.
Well, there's a chair in the center of the room.
Looks uncomfortable to say the least. I'd rather not sit in it if I can avoid it.
The back of it was covered with electrodes connected to the nest of wires.
Looks like it's placed over some kind of glass panel. Too dark to look through it, though.
Junpei turned to look at the right side of the room. There was a table covered with a piece of cloth.
This isn't dried blood on the tablecloth, is it?
On top of the table were a number of metal instruments. Junpei didn't know what they were for, and he had a feeling he didn't want to find out.
Oh, what the hell is this? What are these tools for?
Torture?
That's not something I even want to think about.
Why is there a wrench there? Junpei shook his head in an attempt to clear it, tried to focus on something else.
No doubt about it. This room's dangerous. Let's make our search quick so we can solve the puzzle and get the hell out of here. Come on.
Oh, goody. I'm really... The torture room, it's really upfront about that. Okay, please don't make me have to force someone to sit in that chair. A really creepy chair. The manacles made me think it was used to torture people. Oh, we can't open these manacles without a key. There's some sort of weird symbol on them. Kind of symbol. If I got this right, I think it's a sun symbol. How can you tell? There's something on the screen. This device will conduct the experiment. Once the experiment has been completed, the door will unlock. First, adjust the switches to match the blocks in the sample above. I don't know what this thing is, but we gotta figure out this puzzle. It's right next to a torture chair. Whatever it is, I don't think it's good. Anyway, we just adjust the switches to match the blocks up top, right? You adjust the switches shown in the four corners of the screen, then press the check button. Junpei, we don't know what this thing does. You can always come back to it later. There are lots of other things you could do. Oh, that's fun. Whenever you turn on one of these switches, more blocks show up on the screen. So I think you gotta figure out which buttons you have to press in order to get this screen to match the diagram. Yeah, but it's hard to figure out what button does what. If you want to see how many blocks each switch adds, just turn on one switch. When all of them are off, there aren't any blocks, right? Then you can see how many each switch adds. Oh yeah, I get it. There's a whole lot of cables coming out from that thing. It's really kind of a mess. I can barely tell which is which. I don't want to touch that button. I don't want anything to do with this. Red, yellow. You think these colors mean something? No idea. I mean, red looks more dangerous, but other than that... The bottom of this one looks like it's covered in rust. I don't think it'll move at all. Of course they would. All they can do is turn something on or off. What's important is that they turn on or off. Don't say the floor is going to suddenly open up. Well, I guess I might as well try. Let's give it a shot. Oh, no dice. This thing isn't going anywhere. Oh, give me that. You just ain't man enough. Sure, pal. You give it a shot. Let's just see how much more of a man you are. Hey, you're gonna break it. That thing ain't going anywhere. Oh, thanks, 7. All the dials are pointing in different directions. Maybe something will happen if we turn them on. Shoot. They're all rusted. I guess turning them doesn't really do anything. The needle on the gauge is at 0. Doesn't look like it's going to move. Bunch of buttons here with the letters A through F on them. There's more hexadecimal bullshit. Wonder if they do anything. Down you go. So if I press it again, back you come. I guess these buttons switch something on or off when you push them. There's a lot of buttons here. There's a ton of knobs here. Doesn't seem like any of them do anything though. Do you think it's broken? It looks like this catwalk goes across about half the room. I think it's made like that so you can get around without standing on the floor. There are a number of ominous looking tools and instruments here. Let's see, we've got an adze and a hammer, a pair of forceps, and these other things are too old and broken. I have no idea what they are. Oh, there's a hatchet. Doesn't this wrench look way too new to be... Yeah, that's what I thought. Yes, it does. I didn't notice it before you mentioned it, but it's not rusty at all. I got our wrench. This wrench looks brand new. Considering where we found it, I have to wonder how it was used. Knock it off. I don't want to think about it. I've already seen plenty of things that are a lot more cool than that. You're unexpectedly sensitive. We're in a torture room, Lotus. Oh, come on, let's not talk about stuff that doesn't matter, okay? We need to find somewhere we can use this thing. Hey, this pipe is connected to that thing over in the corner. I imagine there are electrical wires or anything that pipe to the device. If it connects to the device on the... What is this? Cover's bolted on there pretty good. Should be able to get these bolts off with the wrench we just found, though. Sweet, it's open. The hole's too small. You can't see in, even with the cover off. Well, you can't see in, but I think there's enough room to stick your arm in. Are you sure you want to do that? Could be something dangerous in there. Okay, I admit, that scares me a little, but we need to see if there's anything useful in here. Go for it, Junpei. Alright, here we go. Arm in the hole. Hey, I think I can feel something. Small, cold, and hard. Doesn't feel like there's anything else in here. Well, let's see what this thing is. Sun key. Hey, and we saw a sun door, like, earlier. Key with a sun symbol on it. We should be able to open the other door with this. Yeah, but we gotta get out of this room before we can do that. And we're probably gonna need the sun key to do it. But none of the doors in this room have keyholes. But we gotta use it on something that's not a door. Like the torture chair. Great! Do we have to get in the torture chair? Sun key should fit into the keyhole on these manacles. Alright, sun key, in you go. And yes. Great, they're open. I don't think we're going to need the sun key again in here, though. Just seems unlikely. Alright, sun key, you've done your job. Into my pocket with you. It's just... I don't feel comfortable. Adjust the switches to match the blocks on top, and then press the check button. Wait. Okay, well, let's think about this. Okay, so on, no, just making sure, no, and no. Okay. No. And no. No. Okay, so that was the simplest one. No. No. Yeah, these two match. No, not quite. Not quite. It's always just a few off. Wait, how is that a hint? It said it has to match. Oh, is that what I need them to match? Oh, okay. Shit, I was like, okay. Yeah, that was hard. See, I was trying to get every single segment to match. Adjustment is completed. Now proceeding to execution phase. To complete the experiment, data must be collected from subject. Once preparation is finished, place subject in chair. Whoa, I thought we solved the puzzle already. What does it mean by preparation? I don't know. Got a bad feeling about this. I've got a bad feeling about this too. I think this means one of us has got to sit in the chair. Well, 7's never going to fit in that thing. It's either you or me, Junpei. Collecting data. Wonder if it's going to run electricity through the subject. There's a human head on the screen. Maybe it's going to zap the brain with a little electricity? This really doesn't sound safe. Anyway, we've still got to prepare. We'll talk about this after we figured out what it means by preparation, alright? Well, it wants us to prepare, so maybe we ought to ask it what we need to do. Error. Disposal tank is closed. Please fill tank with water. What tank? Oh, we gotta do something with a water tank? Well, there's probably something around here to open the tank, or whatever it's asking us to do. I've been thinking the puzzles up to this point seemed really non-lethal. Looks like the only controls are in this room. Like this? See some oil or something down here at the base of the lever. Yeah, it feels like it's got a movement to it. I should be able to pull this one. Alright, let's pull the lever. Is that water? What the hell? What's going on? Will you calm down? It's just water going somewhere. It sounds like it's underneath us. That means the floor. Oh! Junpei, look! What's she... Oh, damn. See through the glass now. Oh, that's EDBF. There's a shark down there. Why is there a shark? There are a couple of letters in the color of blood written on the shark's belly. It's dead. Looks like the letters are EDBF. Whatever these are for has got to be in the room somewhere. Guess the shark was someone's pet, huh? That's a bit of a surprise. You die in the chair, you get dumped into the water, and he cleans up the mess. Convenient. Okay. There's nothing in there anymore. We shouldn't mess with that anymore. Never know what might happen. Okay, it said EBDF. What? There's a strange noise coming from the chair. Looks like it's been turned on. Guess the puzzle here was that the power had to be sent in a specific way. Yes, I'm saving because... yeah. The restraining device is unlocked. Please seat subject and device. The message on the screen was disturbingly detached.
Well, like we thought, it's not going to work unless someone sits in it.
How ironic that this would be the situation in which this slim, beautiful body is useful.
Lotus, are you sure? I can sit in it and you can solve.
Junpei's right. If we screw it up...
It's like, you are honestly probably better at this than I am. Seven couldn't bring himself to finish the thought. His eyes fell to the floor. Junpei followed them. Beneath them was a dead shark, floating underneath the glass. Perhaps had been killed by an electric shock.
I'll be fine. Even if I fall in, the shark is already dead.
Yeah, but you'll drown.
But...
No one likes an indecisive man, Junpei. I can still give you advice from the chair too, you know.
I don't like this.
I just don't want to stay in this room any longer than we have to. Go over to that screen and let's get this over with.
After her words had made it clear that Lotus would brook no argument, she turned and walked toward the chair without hesitation. But she did not sit down. Yeah. Despite what she had said, she did indeed feel hesitation. Her legs shook.
Look, do you think you could do me one last favor?
Don't say last.
You're making me nervous.
Just listen. If something happens to me, I want you to tell my daughters. Tell them that I loved them very much. No, tell them that I will always love them.
Daughters?
You've got kids?
Yes, I do. I suppose they're about your age, Junpei.
Damn, lady.
They're twins. I had them when I was young after... well, some things happened. Their names are Nona and...
Nona?
Wait! Nona?
Junpei's words shot out before he even realized what he was saying. He remembered the story Seven had told him.
Aoi, Light, and Nona. Those were their names. Well, some of them. The kids that were in the experiment.
But what the hell? What's wrong with you?
Lotus took a step back from Junpei.
Oh.
Seven looked just as shocked as Junpei. He blinked his eyes rapidly, as if he weren't sure why he was completely awake.
No way, it couldn't. Lotus, is your last name Kashiwabara?
Lotus's eyes went wide.
How do you know that?
Are you serious? What the hell is this? There's no way you're that kid's mom.
That kid? Wait, what do you mean that kid? Why are you acting like you've met her?
Seven's brow furrowed.
I have.
What?
Yeah, I met one of your kids.
When?
9 years ago.
Where?
On this ship.
Why were you...
It's not a short story.
Look, I don't care how long it is. Tell me, please, what happened here?
Fine, I'll tell you.
Seven glanced at Junpei, then turned back to Lotus and began to speak. It was the same story Junpei had heard only minutes before. Every detail.
But... And then, that was when. From there, it looked like... just as if, finally... That's all I remember from 9 years ago.
The last Seven finished. Lotus shook her head.
Oh my god. Everything I've been looking for the last 9 years. The person who had all the answers was right here.
Looking for?
Yes, that's right. 9 years ago, my daughters disappeared. Then 9 days later, they came back. They never told me what happened to them over those 9 days. I took them to the doctor, but I was told they hadn't been hurt in any way. Still, I was sure that they had been through something terrible. So I couldn't bring myself to force them to talk about it. If I did, then I'd force them to relive whatever horrors they'd been through. I didn't have any choice. I had to try and ignore it and move on.
Oh.
A few months passed. Gradually, they started to act like they always had, before they disappeared. They smiled and made jokes and did all the silly things kids do. It got harder and harder for me to ask them about what happened. How could I ask them to remember that? Eventually, I knew there was no way I could do it.
Oh.
But I'm still a mother. I couldn't simply forget that something terrible had happened to my children. So I decided I would investigate what happened on my own. I would find out what happened during those 9 missing days.
What did you find out?
Nothing. The police pretended to be concerned, but they didn't do anything. Once the 16 children who'd gone missing came back, things were just... Even the media didn't talk about what had happened. I figured someone was probably paying or threatening them to keep their mouths shut.
Cradle Pharmaceuticals. No, probably something even bigger than that.
Cradle Pharmaceuticals.
Have you heard of them before?
No. It's the first time I've ever heard that name. 7. How did you find out that Cradle Pharmaceuticals was connected to the kidnappings in the first place?
I figured finding out whatever the victims had in common would lead me to the culprit. That's what any good cop does.
What did they have in common?
Every single one of the kids who disappeared had gone to this one hospital at some point. The hospital was one of a bunch that were under the control of Cradle Pharmaceuticals. After that, it was just about connecting the dots.
The hospital.
The hospital?
And for a while, I was trying to get some kind of information out of the kids at the hospital. And one of them told a weird story.
What was it?
Have you heard about the Gansfeld experiment? I guess all these kids had to go through it while they were at the hospital. I think it was passed off as some sort of counseling.
What did you call it again?
Oh, the Gansfeld experiment. This is how it's set up. First, subjects Q and A are put into separate rooms, far away from one another. Then a series of video images are shown to subject Q, who is told to send the images to subject A by thinking about them. Subject A, on the other hand, is put in a large reclining chair and given a blindfold. With their senses cut off, A is asked to guess what images Q is looking at.
Oh, yes, I've heard of that. It's a famous telepathy experiment, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's completely bunk.
Telepathy. That's how the experiment on this ship was supposed to work.
The experiment to control people, right?
Yeah. I don't know if any of the telepathy stuff really exists, but maybe someone from Cradle Pharmaceuticals bought into it.
Lotus grunted. 7 had been thinking hard for the last several minutes and finally spoke.
Even if that is the case, I still don't get how that has anything to do with any of this. The Rotary game, Zero, why we were kidnapped. What does any of that have to do with telepathy? I know I brought all this up, but I have no idea. Maybe none of this stuff is connected after all.
Then, in that moment of silence... Oh my god. Wait, what? That's not the bell. A cold voice echoed down from the ceiling.
No subject has been detected. Unless a subject is detected within 60 seconds, all power will be shut down.
Oh, come on.
System recovery is estimated to take 1 hour. If you wish to proceed with the experiment, please seat subject in the restraining device.
Whoa, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going.
Oh?
Oh, no, that's not what we...
Just hurry up and get it over with. Junpei, I'm counting on you.
Right.
Well, I made his way to...
Lotus, please, tell me right away if you feel anything weird.
You worry too much. Now get on with it
I
and be...
I think it's worrying the appropriate amount. Lotus was putting on the best act she could manage, but her legs were shaking so much that if she hadn't been sitting, she likely would have fallen down.
Lotus.
Failure was not acceptable.
Okay, let's do this.
Junpei took one last deep breath and stared at the monitor. Okay. It's like a beat. Two. 3 on the bottom, the one on the bottom right. I feel like it's affecting the ones on the other side as well, but it's hard to keep track. Okay, so 3 and 5, or 5 and 3. Alright, 4 and 1. Okay. This is annoying. Okay, so 1 there. 6 and 3. 2. It's 5 and 3. So 1 was better for me here. Okay, that fills out this side. Okay. The experiment has concluded. The door will now unlock. You hear the door unlocking. Now we've got a new message. Release subject from restraining device. Lotus, are you alright? Yes, I am. I had nothing bad happen, but I do think my life just got a little shorter. Hold on, I'll get you out right away. Shouldn't take too long for 7 and me to get her out of here. Let's get out of here now. Being a guinea pig is not for me. Damn straight. I don't ever want to see this thing again. Okay. That was mostly a lot of guessing. Okay.
The hallway goes to the left.
Okay. With that, I think that is a good place to stop for the night. That was a lot more stressful than I was anticipating. But, right. So, have a good night.